What's going on, everybody? I hope you all are having a wonderful day today. I'm going to share an experience with y'all that happened to me last year with a friend of mine on a road trip. We went to Yellowstone National Park, and this would be the trip where we almost lost our lives. It was quite funny, now, because we made it. We made it out alive. But, yeah, we were driving down the back roads of Montana. And we drove all the way to Yellowstone from Texas. It was about a 21-hour drive, like 1,400 miles or something like that. And we made it up there to Yellowstone. We stopped at the 12-hour mark, or the 12-hour mark up there, and then slept at some little camp area for the night, and then drove another 12 hours the next morning, and made it into Yellowstone. Well, some unfortunate events had happened while we made it to Yellowstone. Me and my buddy, we like to wind down a bit, have a few beers, and we would end up apparently upsetting some guests that were at this campsite with us, and they would get together and report me and my friend for being too loud, and we would actually be removed from the campsite that we'd paid for a week. And we did get a refund of the money and everything like that, and we were not going to give up on our trip. We have waited a long time to go on this trip, so we decided to look up free campsite areas and found one in Montana, which wasn't too far from where we were, I'd say about 20 minutes. And we drove up there to check out this campsite, and with the way the maps are and some of the campsites, they veer down to the water area. Some of them are quite hard to find. If you don't have a lot of money and you don't want to spend any money in particular on a campsite and you just want to stay at one for free, you're going to have to go off the beaten path and find one deep in the woods. And that's exactly what we decided to do. And so we ended up driving past our designated turn, which we couldn't even see because of all the pine trees and everything like that. And we ended up passing it and had to turn around and come back. And when we did, my buddy likes to speed, and I'm thankful for the day that he was speeding, because if he was not speeding, we would have died. What had happened is we had turned around and started making our way back to where the campsite was, and you heard this weird crackle sound, and we just thought maybe it was just the pine trees moving, and with the wind. And then all of a sudden the whole car just jumps, and it felt like he had hit a massive pothole. And then next thing you know, glass is being thrown all throughout the car, hitting the back of our neck, completely just all over the place. And we look back, and the back window was busted out, and the top half of the car is dented in, like it's punched in to where it would split someone's skull in half. And we both get out, and a tree had fallen while we were driving and hit the ass end of the car. Hit the rear end of the car, and completely put us at a dead stop, and jumped the front end of the car up in the air a bit. And of course, at first you're kind of confused, and my heart was racing. I didn't know what to think of it. I was just thankful to be alive. And then you have to sit there and assess where you are. You're in the mountains of Montana, and there's massive grizzly bears and black bears, all throughout this area, because it is a national forest. So that you've got bears, you've got wolves. I mean, all kinds of animals that could kill you out there. And now you're kind of stuck in the middle of the road in a national forest, and your car has been hit by a tree, and you've almost just lost your life. And I'm thankful a gentleman was not too far behind us. We didn't know anybody was behind us, until we were stopped and we were looking out at the car, and we still had pieces of the tree on the car. And the tree was laying across the road, so you couldn't drive by, you couldn't get around us. And this gentleman, I guess he is used to trees falling in this area, and he had a chainsaw, and he actually cut us off a piece of the tree to take home with us so we wouldn't forget. And I just kept thinking, this is something that I'll never forget. Wyoming and the Yellowstone National Park and Montana have to be one of the most beautiful places I've ever been to. But also, you have to be very, very alert of everything that's going on around you because of the wildlife and just the unexpectancy of something that can happen. Because literally, in a national forest, it doesn't, these roots and the soil is soft, a 900-pound tree could just fall with no problem. And who knows, you may be unfortunate enough, like me and my friend, and have that tree land on your car. My buddy, who thought it was funny, it was his car. We didn't rent a car or nothing like that. It was his actual car, his daily driver. And he got out of the car and it was just laughing. And I mean, it was funny because we were alive. But I just kept thinking, you know, what if it had been the opposite? You know, because it hit the rear end of the car. Like, what if it would have hit the front end? We would have been completely stuck in this area. And I mean, I'm pretty sure the gentleman that came along would have gave us a ride somewhere. I'm not completely sure, but you never know. He was thankful. I'm thankful enough that he had a chainsaw and he helped us out. And I'm thankful for the fact that the tree hit the rear end of the car and didn't smash the front end and completely just demolished the motor and the transmission and everything. Because we actually ended up driving that car back to Texas, the 1,400 miles with the rear end all like busted up, and people were snapping pictures. Hell, even the guy who helped us, he was like, none of my friends are going to believe this. He's like, you guys drove all the way from Texas. You've been here in Montana for 45 minutes, and you're driving down a back road, and a massive pine tree just smashes the rear end of your car. And then, so he actually took a photo. I'm pretty sure he put it up on Facebook. We didn't get his name or anything like that. We were just very thankful for his help. And we did end up finding our campsite, and we got down there, and apparently a lot of tourists like ourselves, but from out of the country, go down into this area. We ran into a whole bunch of German people and Polish and people from Slovakia, and they saw our car and they were wondering what happened, and we told them the story, and they were snapping pictures like, oh man, I'm just glad you guys are okay. And we ended up hanging out with those people all night and talking and getting to know their culture and them asking questions about us and everything like that. And it was just one of those road trips that I will never forget. I do have another story for y'all, but that's for another video. But I hope you guys enjoyed the story. I look forward to telling the next one in the next video. And make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.